Good morning, friends. Welcome to our Godly Play classroom. I'm so glad you're here. Let's look over at our church calendar. We are on the second Sunday of this season of Easter. Did you know that Easter is not just one day, but it's a whole season? Because the mystery of Easter is so big that we need time to really celebrate. What are we celebrating? We are celebrating the one who came and gave his life so that we could all come close to God. And when people asked him, "Who are you?" he said, "I am the light." And that light is with us as we get ready for our story. I invite you to get comfortable, and we'll take a few deep breaths just to help us get ready. So let's do 3 deep breaths. Smelling the flowers, blowing out the candles. 2 more. Smell the flowers, blow out the candles. 1 more. Smell the flowers, blow out the candles. Are you ready? Today's story comes from a book in the Bible called Acts. And the book of Acts comes after the Gospels in the Bible. The book of Acts tells us the stories of Jesus' friends, of his followers, after he went to heaven to be with God. Now, 2 of Jesus' followers were Peter and John. Peter and John had been with Jesus for 3 whole years, every day, 24/7. And now that Jesus was gone, he wasn't with them anymore, they missed him. But somehow they knew that Jesus was still there for them. Nope. It's a mystery. They carried that light of Jesus with them. But what were they supposed to do? Where were they supposed to go? Before Jesus left, Jesus told his friends to go into all the world and share the good news. And that good news is that God's love is for everyone. Now, Peter and John were with the other disciples, the other friends of Jesus. They were all together. And the friends of Jesus took care of each other. They shared everything. No one was left out. Everyone was brought in. One day, Peter and John went to the temple to pray. And outside of the temple, there was a man. And the man was lying down on the ground on a mat. The book of Acts does not tell us the man's name, but I would like to give him a name. So let's call him Timothy. And Timothy had not been able to walk his entire life. Timothy had to actually beg people for money so that he could buy food and so he could live. Because during this time, if someone was like Timothy and they couldn't walk, or maybe they had some other kind of disability, life was very, very hard for them. Usually they couldn't work. Sometimes they weren't able to get married or have a family. And some would not even be able to come inside of the temple to pray. Having a disability during this time often meant that they were not part of the community. Timothy would lie here where there was lots of people coming and going, and he would look up at them and ask them, "Please help me." But many would just walk past without even looking over. Peter and John saw Timothy, and Timothy saw that they were looking at him. And so Timothy said, "Hey, can you give me some money?" And Peter said, "We do not have silver or gold, but what we do have, we will give you." And then Peter reached out and said, "Timothy, get up and walk." All of a sudden, Timothy's legs regained their strength. He felt this force. He stood up. He didn't just start walking, he started dancing and jumping and running around. People who were all around the temple couldn't believe what they saw with their eyes. And they started to look at Peter and John, and they thought maybe Peter and John had a lot of power. But Peter corrected them and said, "Look, this is not us. It's not by our power or our holiness that made this man walk." And that's when Peter told them about Jesus. Peter said, if you follow Jesus, your whole life will change and become new. Timothy's life was never the same. It was never the same again. I wonder what your favorite part of this story is. I wonder what's the most important part. I wonder how Timothy's life changed and what he might do next. I wonder what it was like for all the friends of Jesus to be together and share everything. I wonder if we can look at this story and think about how we might live. And I wonder where God is in this story. Now it's time to change the light. Just like the disciples, we know that Jesus is not here with us, but also somehow Jesus is still with us. That light that Jesus gave us is with us wherever we go, and we get to carry it and share it with other people.